We spend our entire lives talking, but have you ever stopped to think about the hidden map that guides every single conversation we have? From the first hello all the way to the final goodbye, there's this unspoken structure that we all follow, and most of the time, we don't even realize we're doing it. Today, we're going to decode that map.
Oh, we've all been there, right? That awkward moment when a perfectly good chat needs to wrap up, but you just don't know how to do it. You start looking at your watch, you shift your feet, you're sending out all these signals, but nothing's happening. That's because ending a conversation gracefully isn't just about walking away. No, it's a real social skill.
And here's the fascinating part. The smoothest exits are actually a multi-step process. That final goodbye is really just the last move in a game that, believe it or not, starts the second you first say hello.
So, let's start where every conversation does, the opening. It seems so simple, but that initial hello is absolutely packed with social cues that set the stage for everything that's about to happen. I mean, think about it. A greeting isn't really about getting information. When someone asks, "How are you?" they aren't expecting a detailed report on your health. These are social formulas. Their real job is just to connect, to acknowledge the other person, and to basically open the door for a real interaction. That one simple hello is pretty much a conversational handshake. In that single moment, you're actually doing 4 things at once. You're making contact, you're recognizing the other person exists, you're showing that you're friendly, and you're officially kicking off the interaction. Pretty efficient, huh?
And you've definitely noticed how much the context changes the words we pick. You wouldn't greet your boss with "what's happening," just like you probably wouldn't greet your best friend with a super formal "good morning, Robert." That very first phrase immediately sets the whole tone for the rest of the chat.
Okay, so you've said hello, you've had the conversation, and now for the trickiest part, the exit. And here's the thing. The secret isn't in the final word you say, but in the signal you send before you say it.
And here it is, the secret weapon, the pre-closing. It's basically a verbal heads up. It's a way of saying, "Hey, just so you know, I'm getting ready to wrap this up." This gives the other person time to prepare, which is why it can feel so rude when someone ignores a pre-closing. You're pretty much shutting down their signal to leave.
Let's actually see how this works in the real world. We've got 2 friends, Mike and Grace, and they're just chatting. Watch how they end their conversation. It's not just one step, it's this delicate 4-part dance. Okay, step 1. Grace kicks off the pre-closing. Now notice, she doesn't say, "I have to go." She says, "I better let you go," which is such a classic, polite way to signal the end. She's making the excuse about Mike's time, not her own. It's brilliant. Step 2. Mike totally gets the signal. He agrees, "Yeah," and then he fires back with his own pre-closing. He uses the past tense, "It was great seeing you," which frames the whole conversation as being complete. Then he tosses in that other classic move, suggesting a future get-together. Now for step 3. Grace agrees to the future plan. I mean, they're not pulling out their phones to schedule anything right now, but this little exchange helps solidify the end of the current conversation by pointing to a future one. They have now both agreed this chat is ending.
And finally, step 4. This is the last little confirmation before the actual goodbyes. "Well, I'll be seeing you," is one of those final things you say right before the end. The runway is officially clear for landing. Just think about that for a second. It took 4 entire exchanges back and forth just to get ready to say goodbye. This is the kind of complex, unspoken ritual that makes our conversations feel smooth and natural, instead of just abrupt and kind of rude. All right, so after all that prep work, let's get to the last piece of the puzzle, the final moment, the closing itself. After all that complex pre-closing work, the actual closing is the easy part. It's that final, explicit word, the bye, the see you later. Its job isn't to signal anything new, but just to confirm what you've both already agreed on. This conversation is officially over. And here you can see the whole playbook laid out. What's so cool is that the underlying structure, greeting, pre-closing, closing, it stays the same whether things are formal or totally casual. A formal chat might use "good afternoon" and "it's been a pleasure," while a casual one uses "what's new" and "gotta go now." The words change, but the blueprint is exactly the same. So, why does any of this matter, right? Why do we have all these complex, unwritten rules for something as simple as just talking? Well, it's because these rules are what allow us to get through our social lives smoothly. Just compare these 2 conversations. Mike and Grace's chat is super relaxed, it's full of those casual pre-closings.
But the formal call between Dean and Fred the reporter, it's direct, it's efficient. Fred says why he's calling, he gets his info, he gives his pre-closing, thank you very much, and then he ends it with a formal goodbye. The structure just seamlessly adapts to what the situation needs.
So, what's the key thing to take away here? Well, just remember that conversations have that clear structure, but the real art is in the transitions. That pre-closing is your secret weapon for a polite exit. Skipping it is kind of like jumping to the last 10 seconds of a great song. You miss the whole fade-out. And of course, always match your language to the moment.
So the next time you're talking to someone, just listen. When you hear that, well, it's getting late, or it was so great to see you, you'll know exactly what's really happening. You're not just chatting, you're taking part in this really human, beautifully structured dance. And now that you know the steps, what are you going to notice?